The Who's Down in Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying time is here. That's right. We're talking about Fright Night 2011 edition on Kill by Kill. Well, greetings and salutations, Internet. It is your old pal, Patrick Hamilton, coming to you once again from the suburbs of Las Vegas. This is the Kill by Kill podcast, where we're dedicated to celebrating the least discussed component of any horror film, the characters. We're going to unpack all the goriest of details of the remake of Fright Night in the hopes that a local go-go dancer's untimely end is just the beginning of the jokes we might make at their expense. As always, there's only one person I trust to say fuck you when I ask her to Midori me, the one, the only, Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gina?
I just want to get something out of the way.
Sure.
I'm going to make a controversial statement.
Sure.
And I hope that our audience can give me the grace that I need at this time.
Sure.
But I have to be true to myself and just say it.
Okay.
Las Vegas, very strange place for a vampire to settle down.
Yes. Again, in the long history of bad vampire planning, a place that is predominantly sunny for a really long period of the day, it is the least likely place for vampires to go, which is why I think Peter Vincent actually chooses that town.
I mean, that's certainly like there or Phoenix would be like the two places I would go if I was hoping to avoid vampires.
Yes. And there is an exact reason for why it is Las Vegas. And I think it is tied to my enjoyment of this, which I have always liked this film. Does it justify its existence? I don't know that any film justifies its existence based on a world with real needs. But I will say that while I don't think it reaches, John Carpenter's The Thing or David Cronenberg's The Fly or The Blob, I do believe that this is a good remake. And I enjoy it quite a bit. Now, was this your first maiden voyage aboard the 2011 Fright Night?
Yes, yeah, it was. When it first came out, I was extremely offended by the concept that someone would try to do a remake of Fright Night. Although, of course, by that point, it was kind of inevitable because, as we talked about many times at this point, that was part of a long, dark period in horror film history when it seemed like virtually every horror movie that was coming out was just a remake of an older horror movie.
And we've covered a fair number of them. We've covered your Nightmare on Elm Street, which I think is at the bottom of the pit. I don't think it ever gets any worse than that. That is truly, truly terrible.
I mean, we've not covered the remake of The Fog yet.
No, you're absolutely right. I should save that moniker for
you should. I think you would. I think that you are going to regret that you said that.
Yeah. My apologies. I misspoke. I think I am more greatly offended, perhaps, to use your parlance, at the existence and that has not been erased from God's internet, the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I think I could talk about that for hours. And we only talked about it, I think, for an hour and a half. And I think I've got more in the pipe. So if we ever want to go back to it, I really dislike it on a monumental level. The Fog, I think, is so incompetent. It is truly a massive misreading of the original text.
Yeah, it's one of those remakes that's basically just a remake in name only, which is like, why did you fucking bother?
I don't think it really knows what to do with that material. And in many ways, I feel like the success of your remake depends on the formula you use to concoct it, right? Because Hollywood has always made remakes. It is not a new thing. It is not unique to our time and place. Certainly in that era of the millennial nasties, there seemed to be a need within studio executives to exploit that IP that they had sitting in their vault. They did not want to continue those franchises, but they very much wanted to exploit them. And I would count Fright Night amongst them. And dollars to donuts, I believe the people at DreamWorks saw the box office numbers for Disturbia, which I believe brought in $118 million on a $20 million budget. And just someone snapped their fingers and said, get me one of those. And somewhere they found the rights to Fright Night. And they're like, this is kind of Disturbia. And it is. It is kind of Disturbia.
A little bit, yeah.
In the same way that the original Fright Night is, the Hitchcock movie, the Rear Window. It's very Rear Window. I do feel like this is not so much worrying about the rear window of it all, but definitely concerned with Disturbia because it is aping a lot of it.
Well, that's because again, you have your remakes that are, just in name only.
Yeah.
And then you have the other ones that are so, closely aligned to the original that again, what is the point of this?
Right.
This one has just enough interesting tweaks to make it its own standalone movie.
Yes.
Like by the time when the movie opens, it's already established that Jerry Danders is a vampire. Somebody already knows.
Yeah.
And it's just, somebody happens to be Ed instead of Charlie.
Yeah.
You have a different dynamic to Ed and Charlie's friendship, which I do and don't like, and I'll tell you why in a moment.
Sure.
So you have it at this time. It's Charlie that has to be convinced that Jerry is a vampire, even though Jerry lives right next door to him.
And I think some of the main component changes here of how it does not follow the original Fright Night formula really unburden it from having to replicate so much of it. Yes, there is a welcome to Fright Night for real, and we do get a nightclub seduction. So there are elements there that are akin to the original, and obviously the vampire living right next door to you. But there's just enough shifts in this that make it its own individual journey. And I would say at the heart of the reason why I enjoy this movie there's two decisions. One, they hire Buffy the Vampire Slayer writer Marty Noxon, who pens this script. And it's more than just her vampire chops, though, because Noxon she's smart about character. She's a whiz at pacing, and she knew that simply rehashing the same themes of the Tom Holland original would only deliver a subpar result. And then they bring on Craig Gillespie, who at this point was primarily known for Lars and the Real Girl. So Fright Night is well out of left field for him, but he is that kind of person who takes a story you might know a little bit and is able to give it a really interesting spin. Hence his work on I, Tonya, on Pam and Tommy, and every episode of Physical that I believe you covered on White Ladies in Crisis.
I did, and I also covered season overviews when I was writing for the Spool.
Oh, there you go. So, there's right then and there, they've hired interesting people who are knowledgeable and are skilled, and then they're not married to every element of the original Fright Night being replicated. And so I think what elevates the film's profile for me is that there is a couple of these themes that permeate the narrative that imbue it with a different type of vampire. The first being late stage capitalism. The key to making this movie unique is the 2008 financial crisis.
Right. And you could put this up against a let's just say a less successful remake from the same time period, Poltergeist.
Sure. Oh my God.
Which also digs into the family rather than moving into a bright and shiny new housing development. It's basically they're the last family there at this point.
Right.
And I thought that was the only interesting thing they did with that otherwise absolutely unforgivable remake.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is a real delicate balance. I hold that original Poltergeist in much higher esteem than Fright Night, and I really like the 85 Fright Night. But it's so much farther to fall for that Poltergeist in so many ways. And it so misreads the room with how it tries to deliver things. And it has actors that you trust, and they're just given nothing to do. And it's, oh my God, it all feels so fake and wrong.
Yeah, I remember reading an interview with what the hell's his name? Sam Rockwell, talking about how, I never wanted to have kids. I was like, yeah, I can tell you never wanted to have kids because you are an absolutely unconvincing father in this movie.
Yeah. And there are many genius elements of the original Poltergeist, but one of them is that family feels like a real family.
Yeah.
It feels like a snapshot of genuine suburban life.
Right. And in the remake, they fucking hate each other. They're sniping. And I realized it plays into, haunting affects, vulnerable families. Like, yeah, but you don't have to, make us hate these people.
Yes. Yes. And that's one of the things I think this movie does better than most. And we'll get into it more deeply, but my major problem is anyone who listened to those previous episodes will tell you that I believe is wrong with both Fright Night and Fright Night 2 is William Ragsdale's Charley Brewster. In those films, Charlie has one and only one problem: his unconsidered penis. It just is endless how focused on his wiener he is. The character sucks. And so I could go on and on, but I spent 2 entire episodes explaining why I don't like Charley Brewster. So please refer back to those previous volumes. But I also believe that Gillespie and Noxon find a way to make Charlie not only palatable, but even likable when he's doing slightly unlikable things.
Well, that's a little bit of one of the drawbacks I have with it.
Okay.
Now, before I go on, let me say this is no reflection on Anton Yelkin, God rest his soul. He's a very sweet young man with a very sweet mannerism, and that's the problem. Is I simply do not buy his character. I don't buy his character, abandoning his childhood friend of many years to hang out with a Franco, even the good Franco. It's just I feel the most powerful scenes in this movie are with him and Ed, who surprisingly is not in it as much as you would think he is.
Right.
Yeah, if you are a pro Evil Ed, you're going to be disappointed by this because he's in it maybe about 15 minutes.
True, but I will say what I like about Ed in this particular movie is that they have given these two a regrettably realistic teen male dynamic in that one person is desperate to be someone different, and your old friends know who you are. And you then treat them as if they are some sort of burden to you because they remind you of this person you don't want to be, but you inherently are. And it is him coming to that. He does realize that he sucks, sucks.
Of course. Yeah. No, that's the interesting character element. And, Ed ultimately is kind of a tragic figure.
Yes.
He's just absolutely, these scenes that when they're together, it's like kind of unexpectedly devastating.
Yeah. Because you can feel the hurt on Ed in this. And before there's the high school just seems to be where they happen to go. And Ed, I'm still unconvinced as to exactly what Evil Ed's character is in the 2018. I just don't think Tom Holland was a whiz at writing teens. I think that's part of it. He just, kind of casts them in this nebulous state, and they don't have super big wants or desires. I don't know what Amy does when she's not around Charley. And why does Ed honestly hang out at any point with Charley, considering the way he treats him in that previous one? It doesn't make a lot of sense. And here, you may not like the motivations, and I think that is a worthy target to paint on this, because I think it's attempting to make Charley pay for what he's done. Whereas in that first one, I don't know why Ed ever hangs out with Charley. What do you gain out of it? He's a dick. And not a particularly good one.
Yeah, I will say that he's in the newer one, Charley is convincingly guilt stricken. So I will say that, but I found that to actually be one of the more interesting aspects.
Yeah, I agree. There's just more depth to all the proceedings here that I find enriching to the overall experience, because I think just about any filmmaker would have come into this and immediately set it in the Midwest and tried to make it as 80s nostalgia as possible. And they would have gotten away with it. And maybe it would have made a bit more money, but it wouldn't have been interesting. And I don't think any of these people who did sign on to it would have. I think the reason this movie has Colin Farrell and Anton Yelchin and David Tennant and Christopher Mintz-Plasse and Imogen Poots and Toni fucking Collette in it is the fact that they read this script, saw that the guy who directed Lars and the Real Girl is making it, and said, "What? He's got something up his sleeve here. Let's get on board."
Yeah.
Whenever I need to send roses that are guaranteed to make someone's day, the only place I trust is 1-800-Flowers.com. With 1-800-Flowers, my friends and family always receive stunning, high-quality bouquets that they absolutely love. Right now, when you buy a dozen multicolored roses, 1-800-Flowers will double your bouquet to 2 dozen roses. To claim this special double roses offer, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
I think my favorite aspect of this is Toni Collette is like a thirsty single mom.
Yes. Oh my God. This is another vast improvement on the original movie. Again, a movie I genuinely like. I would say to a certain degree is better than this film. But I find just because of its originality and how it transposes its inspirations. But I think Toni Collette is fucking on fire in this. She seems real. She's hot as hell. I'm sorry to say this on main, but Toni Collette is fucking smoking.
Yeah, I am disappointed that because of the vampire thing that she and Colin Farrell were not able to hook up.
Yes, that is the one thing the movie is missing. But I do like the fact that her obvious attraction to Colin Farrell is not science fiction. Like, look at the fucking guy.
Yeah, and it's not even him like running a mind game on her or anything.
No.
He's just like a hunky neighbor who can fix stuff around his house.
Right. He is a man who can actually accomplish things. And we're going to get into that whole element of it because I think it is the second vein of interest in this movie that it never really overplays its hand, but is just wafting in the background of its relationship to masculinity. Not even toxic masculinity, but simply the idea of masculinity at all is interesting here because it's all brewing well before the manosphere starts to form around its video game problems and its comic gate and all that bullshit. It's just brewing out there, and yet it finds interesting purchase in Fright Night remake. That's just so weird and so delightful.
Yeah, I mean, considering what we're doing a back-to-back recording of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, but we can't unload all of that. I do feel like we will probably have just like 5 minutes where we come back to Fright Night, just as in comparison. But for those who you won't know this because I announced it on Tuesdays. The next episode will be the remake of I Know What You Did Last Summer. And spoiler alert, it's going to be a fun episode. So what I enjoy quite a bit in this circumstance with this cast is making it a lot about uncertainty. The housing finance bubble had burst, 3 years previously to this, exposing how banks and lenders use subprime mortgage schemes to suck in customers into buying homes they could not afford with loans that were too good to be true. And Toni Collette's character is a real estate agent. So it is both the busiest time in her life and the least rewarding because no one can afford to buy a house and a lot of people who did have houses could not afford to stay in them. And so they are basically one of the last few people in their neighborhood because everyone else has fled in the middle of the night. And then as Ed starts to prognosticate here, and I think this is where a lot of Charlie's doubt in Ed's statements come from, is these people are disappearing. And he's like, yeah, a lot of people are. They can't afford to live in their fucking house.
Yeah.
So, and in particular, Las Vegas was one of those neighborhoods that became practically ghost towns. The resulting recession left the tourism-dependent economy in Las Vegas devastated, forcing families and single home owners to flee these properties for a fraction of what they would be worth, let's say, in today's market. Which is probably its own bubble, but that's not our problem. That's my child's problem. This sets the table for a film that's a little deeper than the teen comedy version that Tom Holland concocts for the original version. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's great. The original's rep is unburdened by the remake since this one kind of treads its own path. And as a result, you have a Charley Brewster. He is the dog who's caught the car here. It's a very different place than where we found Charley Brewster in the original, who is just, I don't know that he likes Amy. I don't even know that he tolerates Amy. But Amy seems to be the only island in which he could possibly concoct a scenario where he will eventually touch a boob. And that's a problem for me.
Yeah, I'm not sure if, and again, this is no shade on the actress, but it's a little bit of a jarring juxtaposition between, you've got, very girl next door, almost tomboyish Amy in the first one. And I have to say, I was genuinely shocked to discover that these actors are the same age, because she looks and acts about a decade older than him.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's just, mannerisms or that Anton Yelchin was particularly young looking, but I was certain that there was going to be a significant age difference. And nope, they are born the same year.
Yeah. Yeah. They are the same age. But I do believe, because you have a Marty Noxon writing her, there's a certain redemption project, I think, in her mind, of trying to give Amy, I don't know, a personality.
Well, yes, of course. Yeah. No. That's yeah.
As much as, Toni Collette makes Mrs. Brewster, who I think in the first one didn't even have a first fucking name. She's simply Mrs. Brewster, because what other job does she have?
I mean, they literally, she's literally just goes to work.
Yes.
When everything goes down.
And like, there's just not a ton of threat beyond a vampire living next door. But Charlie's immediately threatened when he sees Jerry talking to his mom, and he has zero idea whether or not there's actual vampiric activity, because he's just too fucking hot. And it's so patently obvious that he's hot that Charley doesn't really know what to do. There's a legitimate, everything I have done about myself could be completely undone if my mom starts fucking the hot next door neighbor. Which may or may not be true. That is a teen's problem. So I find that realistic. But yes, I think Amy is written a little too Buffy the Vampire Slayer for what the rest of the movie has. That being said, I do find Imogen Poots kind of fucking delightful in this. Like, I like the scene in which she tells Charley, listen, I knew you were a dweeb. That wasn't the issue. That's not, you don't need to hide any of that. That's something I actually liked about you, because you had wants and desires and you seemed like a good person. The other people I hang out with, I don't know that they're great people. And it takes almost dying for her to say it out loud, but she does say it.
Right.
And then I guess we have to get to the big issue in this room, which is, no one on earth is going to say that Colin Farrell isn't attractive. Certainly, no one on earth is going to say that he isn't sexy. And yet, dollars to donuts, he really cannot outrun the shadow of Chris Sarandon's Jerry Dandridge.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he does it in a different way.
Okay.
I think that he is not trying to emulate Chris Sarandon too much.
Sure.
Which is, and I think it also helps that he's a little bit younger. Now, of course, chronologically, he could be hundreds of years old. But, Jerry Dandridge looks like he's in his 40s. He's got a sophisticated air about him.
Yes, right.
Where this version of Jerry Dandridge is just like, a hot guy.
Yes. It's the difference between Jerry Dandridge, the guy who sells antiquities in the first one, and this Jerry Dandridge who works construction at night on the strip.
Right. He's just like walking around with a tank top on. You know?
Exactly.
Like one's got a tank top, one's got a turtleneck. That's like that's your difference. Now I realize he's wearing a tank top because he's in fucking Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But and you know, Jerry is in the Midwest in the fall, I think. But you know, still that kind of like there's your visual cues.
Yes.
And also, of course, the elephant in the room we have not brought up yet. Is they kind of eliminated any traces of homoeroticism.
Yes.
Like this Jerry lives completely alone. He does, not have a manservant / occasional lover living with him.
Yes. And I do feel that lack of sexual menace there is something I miss. But I don't believe it is coming from, that's too touchy a subject or anything along those lines. I think they just simply wanted to forge their own path in relationships and figure how to recontextualize these characters into something that is slightly unexpected rather than just tick off boxes.
But I think that also overall adds to Chris Sarandon as Jerry's his appeal.
Yes. And, there's elements of the original and its queerness that I just don't think you can automatically replicate because, as you mentioned, like the homoerotic elements of the 85 film aren't necessarily intentional. It's just that
there's literally a shot where he's patching up Jerry's hand and like kneeling in front of him.
No. Those things are. But I will say that then you have on top of that is this divinely inspired queer cast that is also involved. And I don't think you have that here. You don't have a Stephen Jeffries. You don't have an Amanda Bierce. You don't have a Roddy McDowall. And as a result, I think some of the camp value of that is pretty unique to the 85 and sequel versions of this. And in an effort to kind of make it its own thing, I think they edge that out because the financial crisis of this all plays a lot bigger. And then the whole worrying about masculinity element becomes a much bigger component of this particular rendition.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm not saying that it makes it a lesser movie. I'm just thinking that that's an element that they did sort of noticeably left out of this.
Yeah. It's just, I think this version is less interested in subtlety and more engaged in, I think, aggrandized male presentations. Because how Jerry can quote unquote fix things while Charlie can't get his dirt bike running is just, that's in the first 10 minutes. And then how Jerry affects every woman he comes into contact with. And Charlie at first sees this as a threat to the front that he's put on. And then the more he learns, he understands there's a genuine predatory threat to what Jerry is. And how exactly can he step up to try to do something about it? Because the power structures that he resorts to, weirdly enough, once again, the police are bad at dealing with sexual vampire problems.
They weren't trained for that. Come on.
Yeah, it really does not come up in the academy as often as you think it might. And so while that is a component of the 85 original, I don't think the 89 sequel ever really worries about it. This one is a little more gender rigid version to a degree of like the Lost Boys, where in the Lost Boys, everyone kind of dresses like a sexy mom. And then the leader turns out to be a dad in a sweater. And then here, everyone is trying to present as male as possible, with one exception. And, Peter Vincent dresses actually like a Lost Boy for show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's one element that I really enjoyed. But while at the same time, I'm sure that people were initially, not unhappy about it, is they aged down Peter Vincent and basically, who was that magician, Chris Angel, the mind freak. Yes. Yeah. I make him him.
Yeah.
He's got the leather pants and the shitty facial hair and like, it's just, just like the air of cheesiness coming off of him. And I think that's a really clever take on this character.
I think it is weirdly inspired. I love that his penthouse suite in Las Vegas looks like he's rented it from Doctor Strange. And this is 5 years before Doctor Strange will see movie theaters. It's just that prescient. And then there's something to having David Tennant, fresh off of years of playing Doctor Who, be a giant scumbag instead of making Peter Vincent kind of a mumbly, wish I could go back to the glory days actor. He's a completely full of himself, dirtbag magician. And it just kind of comes off as inspired. And I love all of Peter Vincent's many, many struggles. I love that he dresses like a Lost Boy, takes whore showers with Midori, and has trouble fitting his penis into his leather pants. And like, he's just very unworried about how he presents on a gender scale. And much more worried about how cool he appears. And I think that is an interesting flip on the original.
Yeah, and I like that, rather than in the original where Ed was sort of the comic relief, now it's Peter who's the comic relief.
Right. And, because you're looking for signifiers as rungs on a ladder to climb. And when they take Ed off the map so early, it is genuinely unexpected.
Yeah.
And I feel like that sequence has suspense to it. And there's a playfulness to how it just works you here and there with what you're expecting. And then you find it to be something completely different. And then he just wanders into a pool and bites Ed's neck. And Ed's like, oh, okay, I guess this should happen. I should just succumb to this thing.
When he's running away from almost getting beaten up by Dave Franco, it's like, you know what? You should run away. You should be embarrassed. Dave Franco is like 5'1".
Truly.
I could beat up Dave Franco.
He's like 125 soaking wet. Like, I'm pretty sure even that bag on your shoulder, just smack him with it, for Christ's sakes. Stand up for yourself. They're the same fucking height. It's crazy. I'm not entirely sure what menace he holds. Other than the fact that he was, at the time, the lesser Franco, and of course now the much greater Franco. The
only Franco we acknowledge at this point.
That's right. Or will ever, as far as I'm concerned, unless he has a kid that, turns out to be a movie star. And the way this is going, they'll be the only people allowed to be movie stars. But at its core, because it is doing these unexpected moments, because it takes it in a direction that I don't think people were expecting from a Fright Night movie, I think it both shocked and offended the core audience and did not bring in the word of mouth it should have. And I think like that sequence in which they're forced out of the house because he can't come in.
I love that. That was so clever.
That's so fucking awesome. Like, I really love how this movie plays with stuff.
I've never seen that in a vampire movie. It's like, okay, you're not going to let me in. I'm going to drive you out. Right. That seems like that seems like something that should have been done already.
Yes. The way this movie plays with you have to be invited in. When we saw Sinners, one of the first things coming out of it, like, I know we're wrapping up vampires, but we're going to have to talk about Fright Night Remake because it's the only other vampire movie that really works that particular gear of vampire lore to great effect.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying this is Sinners, everybody. I'm not saying the sinners stole from it.
I mean, in the sense that, it has two sexy Irish vampires. Sure. Yeah. I mean, he does dance a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, they both look good in a tank top.
Oh, yeah.
So they got that going for it. But I do enjoy that both of them took this little used component of vampire lore and attempt to make the most out of it. And for that, I think this movie should be congratulated. I really honestly want people to seek this film out because it's so much better than you think it's going to be. And, there was a lot of shitty remakes. There were some good ones, but this is one of the better by a far stretch, particularly for the time period. It's this and the Crazies.
Right. Yeah. You read my mind. I was going to say that this is up there with the Crazies. Because then I think, but one of the things that I really admire about it is they really put a lot of thought into how could we make this stand out on its own.
Yeah. I think they knew which element, they knew that people would expect these certain things. And so they dutifully supply them, but they don't deliver them in the exact same order. And they also are not really worried about attempting to recreate 1985's Fright Night, but simply, listen, they're similar scenarios, but we're going to deliver our own movie in that regards. And I think the end result is something that I'm very happy to say, hey, you should seek this out.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. I was very, very pleasantly surprised. I mean, I kind of knew I was going to enjoy it because, people that I trust, such as yourself, have all said, oh, it's better than you think. Give it a chance. I just never really got around to it.
Sure.
Up until
There's a lot of movies, man.
But I wasn't particularly dreading it when you said, oh, we're going to do, the Fright Night remake. I was like, oh, okay, well, that'll give me an excuse to finally watch it.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. I thought it was very, the drawbacks that I had did not, impact the entire movie.
Yeah.
But I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think where where I think it rubs up, because it's happening so early in this sort of scenario, is the sort of character dynamics that, preceded the dumbest debate and most useless conversations that have ever happened in the digital space. And that is over manhood. And it's now such a fucking toxic third rail. It's like the last thing you want to see portrayal, but you can almost kind of see the threads here of it actually investigating how people are viewing maleness at this exact period of time. And so they remove the need, the palpable boner that Charley has at all times to just like, please touch it. Please touch it. Please touch it. And it's like so fucking terrible. I know everyone in the 80s was obsessed with their boner being touched, but it just doesn't lift a movie for me.
No, and as you say, with the tension, between Jerry seemingly having all the ideal qualities of what women are looking for in a man, and Charley not having those yet, but he shouldn't because he's like 16,
right?
And how many 16-year-olds have all the qualities of a full grown ass man yet? I mean, you shouldn't. That would be terrifying. I would assume you'd gone through some sort of sexual trauma at some point. Right. Yeah. I mean, you're supposed to be a dweeb when you're 16. You're not supposed to be looking sexy in a tank top and being able to fix everything around the house. Yeah. But he's genuinely worried about that, and of course that also puts an element on gives some dimension on why he pulled himself away from Ed and from this other kid who he basically tries to pretend he's not concerned that he disappeared. Yeah. And it's like, come on, Charley.
Yeah. I think he does have to he has to feel bad about this. This is something he legit did. And so he has to confront the idea that he was a shitty friend, that if he wants to be a good boyfriend, he wants to have relationships with people, he can't treat people that way. And so when he looks back and sees Ed's, this person that he refused to look at for so long is now gone, now he begins to realize, oh, fuck. I actually should have listened. I should have been listening to this person for a lot of reasons, but part of it is I should have been listening to him just as a human being.
When it comes to delivering flowers for life's special occasions, trust the name that's been setting the standard for nearly 50 years, 1-800-Flowers.com. From breathtaking bouquets to one-of-a-kind arrangements, 1-800-Flowers is your authority on quality blooms. Always fresh, always stunning, always delivered with care. And right now, for a limited time, you can save up to 40% off your bouquet and make someone's day. Save up to 40% off today at 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO. This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. The holidays are here, and that means it's the most wonderful time of the year to save with Rakuten. Use Rakuten to stack cash back from your favorite stores on top of holiday sales. That's savings on savings. With Rakuten, you can get cash back on gifts for everyone on your list. From toys for the kids, to kitchen gear for the person who loves to cook, to electronics for everyone. You can even save on something for yourself. Just shop the stores you love and cash back is automatically added to your account. And you can get paid with gift cards, PayPal, or check. Or eligible American Express card members can even choose to earn membership rewards instead of cash back. It's truly a no-brainer. Join for free today and get a new member bonus after minimum qualifying purchases. Just go to Rakuten.com, download the app, or install the browser extension. That's RAKUTEN. Terms and conditions apply.
Right. I mean, and the, of course, the irony is, he's sort of, given Ed the heave-ho to hang out with these two other kids who he does not actually, much like with Amy, he does not actually seem to like very much.
Yeah.
But he has determined, if I want to move up in the high school hierarchy, if I want to be perceived differently by my peers, I have to force myself to hang out with these people.
Right.
It's like,
and that requires him to go to the mall and let his more financially secure girlfriend buy him shitty sneakers that are then made fun of by a vampire. And listen,
right.
There's no deeper hurt on this world than to have your sneakers made fun of by a guy who sleeps during the day in the dirt of his own home.
By a sexy vampire.
I really like your kicks. Most people would not feel very masculine in that color, but you pull it off.
You want to come back and look at my collection?
I have all of my classic sneakers in shrink wrap. That's how I enjoy them. Just by looking at them on the wall. Do not crease them.
Yay, after cold and flu season's over, we can bring back Nosferatu.
Usually, I would come out of that coughing and hacking.
I was going to say we could do it without dissolving into a fit of wet hacking cough.
This is after volleyball tournament cold number 3 struck our fucking house. Let me tell you something. It used to be we would send our kid off to school, and that September we'd all get a fucking cold, and it was just like fucking clockwork. And then middle school hit, and it kind of went away. And it went away to such a degree that I was like, I went 2 whole fucking years without being deathly ill. And then I got through a Christmas without a fucking cough. And I'm like, hey, you know what's helping flying on a fucking airplane with a face mask on? I feel invincible. Well, that feeling is wrong because every time I go to a goddamn volleyball tournament, I come back ill. These are giant rooms with tall ceilings. I should not come back with fucking colds.
No, it's like you got like Randall Flagg coaching those kids.
I think it'd be real groovy if you put up a 4 and go on the outside. Hit the 5 hole, everybody. I don't have a great Man in Black imitation, whereas I do think our friend Nosferatu, I think we have a better handle on. I am a, how will you say, sneakerhead. I almost died because I was waiting in line for a 2018 drop that was going to happen, and I noticed the sun was coming up. Unlike our friend, Nosferatu, who's like, listen, this sex so good, I lost track of time. Can we go back to that? The plan was fuck a guy so good, he's like, I don't know when the sun comes out.
It's like, what is it? 2 p.m., 5 a.m.? I'm good.
Listen, so long as this Kama Sutra thing is happening, I don't really need a clock on the wall. The rats and the maggots will tell me what time to get. What, rats and maggots is not part of lovemaking?
I set my Apple Watch. What happened?
I need to close my circles for the love.
It's back, everybody. Just in time for the Christmas season.
Destroying our larynxes just for you.
Just shredding our throats. And this is only the first record of the night. So we really should restrain ourselves because the next one is going to feature us yelling quite a bit.
Screaming profanities.
Oh, man alive. Yeah. For me, in terms of atmosphere and ingenuity and how it transposes the things that gave it life, 85 Fright Night, it's got it in spades. I love the practical effects. I love the makeup designs. There's so much going for it, and it really is directed well. And I don't think I can ever get over the Charley aspect of it. And I get really pissed with its attitude towards women, which it kind of continues in the sequel unnecessarily, that just women don't have personalities.
No. Like the in the second movie she did, and that personality was you stick up her ass.
Yes. She kind of sucks, but at least they have each other because they both suck. So that sort of makes it worthwhile. But Amy in the original one doesn't have enough to actually suck. I don't know what drives her as a character. And the movie is very unconcerned with her. And, I hate to say fine like it's okay. And I hate to say fine like it isn't okay. But it is the kind of cardinal sin of that particular movie that I enjoy very, very much. It's just one of those, I have a problem with it. It doesn't make the movie bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. And I think, and here at least, Amy becomes more of a sidekick.
Right.
Who just happens to be also his romantic interest, which is, again, an interesting element to it.
Yeah. And it does sort of transmute some of the elements that I like that you could, it provides a singular tool to kill a vampire and then return, mortal souls to the people who've been turned into vampires. Okay, it kind of sets something up, and there's lore built into it that I enjoy, and that you don't have to. That Peter Vincent is a believer who wants to stop believing, but is constantly driven by those demons. It's an interesting turn. It's just every part of this is well considered.
Right. Yeah. No, it is, and one of my, as you know, one of my biggest complaints about a lot of the remakes is just the sense of roteness, these make a lot of money. Let's just churn one out.
Right. Yeah.
But here I feel that, the source material is very beloved to everyone involved, but I think they wanted to put a modern polish on it. So hence the elements of the financial crisis. And I think that they just, tweaked it enough to be its own thing.
Yeah. And it's playing against the backdrop of what is ultimately like the biggest movie vampire franchise of all time, and that is Twilight, which is non-threatening vampires. Sure, there are threatening vampires as a part of it, but I do think there's like that core interesting element of Twilight in that, every vampire movie at some level is about sex because intimacy and penetration are involved. And that's like, what if I removed all of that and they're just creepy? And you're like, oh, hey, man, that's interesting. Now, I don't know that they do a lot with it or what they do with it isn't necessarily for me. I will say it's kind of fucking brilliant. And I can entirely see why anyone would get wrapped up in it and sort of make it a personality for a little while because it has something going on. Is it entirely for me? No, that's okay. It was for a whole lot of people and they got to have it. That's great. So going up against that sort of backdrop of perhaps we make a vampire dangerous again, and a fair amount of people tried. And I think this is pretty much the most successful of its individual era.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Sinners is well taken over that throne for a variety of reasons. And it is so rich a text. It came on, HBO Max, and like I've watched it a bunch of times, Gina. I just really enjoy it.
I've seen it 3 times since it came out.
Yeah. It's just really, really well made and so well acted. And God, I hope it gets a lot of Oscar attention this year. It's going to be a weird year. There's going to be a fair amount of contenders, but I just don't want it to get lost in the shuffle. I think it has so much going on beyond it being just a kick-ass horror movie. It's just a great movie. Anything else that we haven't covered here that we want to make sure we talk about?
No, I think if you've been reluctant to watch it because you have the same feeling I have about remakes where it's like, I guess.
Yeah.
I give it a shot because it's very entertaining.
Yeah. It's on Tubi. It's on Peacock right now. There's places to watch it with minimal commercial interruption. And it is well worth your time. It is a real bum. It is a testament to the eternal bummer it will be that Anton Yelchin was taken from us so fucking early in life. Because I think he just would have been one of those fucking every 5 years he's in a great fucking movie. I think he would have been that guy.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. He's very believable as a sort of, callow little weenie at the beginning of the movie who, comes around and, understands the hurt that he's caused.
Yeah.
And, and then now he has to, rectify it in some way. And I think that, that it's difficult to give your character, to have your character go from kind of unlikable to sympathetic in a relatively short period of time.
It's a rare bird that you find an actor who can actually pull that off. And he was one of the few. And he has another horror movie that I think we have to cover here. And that is Green Room. My God, everything about Green Room is great, but he's also great in Green Room. And yeah, that'll be an interesting rewatch because, wow.
Wouldn't we all love a chance now?
Right. Yeah. You know what? I do love Nazis being murdered. Just at the end of the day,
just
I enjoy watching it.
One getting cracked in the head with a baseball bat.
Oh,
I mean, like I could watch. I mean, I'm no fan of Eli Roth, but I could watch that scene where he's coming out of the tunnel with the baseball bat over and over and over again.
Yeah. Well, listen, the Bear Jew, I'm a big fan of. Eli Roth, not so much.
Sometimes I like to pretend I'm him.
Yeah. You know what? A man can dream.
Just Stephen Miller's big egghead right in front of me. That's practically masturbatory.
Just really harming his limbs and his big egghead. He looks like Vincent Price's Batman villain, Batman 66 villain. But that's his actual skull.
That's his actual painted on hair skull. Remember when he went on TV with like spray on hair? These undignified fucks, I swear to God.
But he has since shown up on television. That's the thing. Like he had the audacity, and then he was chastised for it, and he's like, I'll get you back by removing your democracy.
So somehow his image appears on camera.
Right. He's the rare one. Even the vampires are like, listen, we have to let you see this guy. You have to see this shit with your own fucking eyes. I think the only element of audacity that also has to be leveled at this movie is that it takes real fucking balls to steal the sequence from Children of Men. And this movie intends to. And I'm like, that is audacious because no one else is trying to ape Children of Men that quickly and add vampire violence onto it. And yet this movie does. It's kind of like, okay, all right. Well, at least you have good taste, right? Don't reference a movie and then make me pine for the better movie. And I will readily admit Children of Men is a better movie than the Fright Night remake.
Well, yes.
But this is entertaining. And I had forgotten about it until we rewatched it. And I'm like, it takes some fucking balls. It really does.
Yes.
I wish we could play Choose Your Own Deathventure, but everyone dies by vampire bite.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry gets flamed at the end, but
he explodes, and then the go-go dancer explodes. So your choices are vampire bite or explode, and I don't know. Vampire bite, I guess.
Say, can I come? I mean, they come back. They look like they.
Those that don't wander out into the sun.
Yeah, and like another element they brought back was that they brought into this was if the head vampire is killed, you turn back to normal, which is a little bit taken from Lost Boys, I think. But
well, I know. Well, it is. The Fright Night does come out 2 years before Lost Boys.
Oh, that's true. And Amy does change back. That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So what I think would have been smart for me, the person who supposedly does research on the show, was I should have looked up at any point if any movie had put that out there before Fright Night. I'm sure it actually
I'm sure that, I don't think it invented that concept, but I think it might be, one of the more, well-known versions of it.
Because like Dracula in 1980, that horny lady, when he gets hoisted on that mast, she turns back into a human being.
Yeah, but it kind of implies that she may still be connected to him. Like she does that a little like, when she sees his cape flying away. Like I just rewatched it recently just for shits and giggles. But like, she's sort of like smirking a little bit, and it leaves a little ambiguous that she's actually changed. So
yeah.
Oh, and of course, Mina and Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Sure.
Mina turns back to normal at the end.
Right,
so I'm pretty sure it's fairly consistent in vampire lore. Just that's one of the more memorable uses of it.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll go as a vampire. Go ahead. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm a night owl anyway. Although
True.
I'm certainly going to get on the first plane out of fucking Las Vegas, though.
That's true. Go someplace with a much darker.
Send me to wherever the hell they are in fucking 30 days at night.
Yeah, way up in Alaska. I'm sorry to all our friends in Alaska. You've been having a really fucking hard time on the coast. And it really sucks that no one is doing anything about it.
But hey, we have a spectacular ballroom that
true.
none of us will ever see the inside of, ever.
Let's blow out these walls. What does this historical building have to do with it? Oh my God. Listen, it is like the least important outrage, but also the fucking temerity to both steal people off of streets with fucking secret police and fuck over the White House. I don't have a lot of emotional attachment to the White House, but I don't like this asshole. So what are you gonna fucking do? It's a real issue. I'm really unsure as to what to do about it, but I enjoyed wandering around my tinier No Kings demonstration in Savannah, Georgia, because that's where I was when that happened to happen. So I wandered out there and I yelled for a little while, and then I got on a plane. Gina, where can people find you on these here internets?
I write about movies and pop culture on my newsletter, GinaWatchesThings.ghost.io. And I am on social media under Gina Does Things.
Do it today, people. Check it out. You can find us on lots of socials, your Blue Sky, your Threads, your Instagrams, your Facebooks. We are now on Discord. And so if you are a Discord person, guess what? We are there to chat with you on and off when I remember to open that app. And I'll get into the practice of it because people seem to really enjoy it and the conversation is free flowing. So I love that part. So if you want to become a part of it, come on over to the Discord. The link will be in the show notes below. And of course, join our Patreon to get lots of bonus content. Like we talked about Children of the Corn. Who has the balls to do that? The 84 version of all things. Come listen to us talk about Malachi and Isaac and their weird relationship. Those two should not be working together, Gina.
No, they're just like locking horns.
They really are. They are the bitchiest Bert and Ernie that you've ever seen in your life. Which one is Bert? Which one is Ernie? That's for you to decide. And then rate and review us on iTunes. Go over to Spotify and talk to us. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and you can chat with us there as well. We'd love to digitally see your face through words. And that just about does it, folks. But don't worry, the body count will continue for myself and for Gina. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but Mint's premium wireless is $15 a month. But I'd like to offer one other perk. We have no stores. That means no small talk. Crazy weather we're having. No, it's not. It's just weather. It is an introvert's dream. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
'Tis the season of gifting and halls to deck, and the Who's and Who Newville were in love with new tech. Where can we find Sonos and Samsung and Nintendo, they shouted. Would they find it in one place? This they questioned and doubted. When suddenly a Who yelled, Walmart's the place to start! And each Who added headphones, TVs, and games to their carts. With Walmart, their shopping was done in a flurry. They cried out, "Who knew?" and ordered their gifts in a hurry. Shop the latest tech gifts in the Walmart app.